This is going to be part 2 of setting up OpenVMS 8.4 under emulation, es40. I'll put a link in the description to the previous video where we installed the operating system. This video we're going to set up TCP IP and perhaps install some layered products, and then probably a third video maybe coming afterwards where we'll build some open source software. So let me find the configuration, get this set up. So we'll start with the core environment. Home.lan. Highly recommend setting up your own DNS at home. It really is handy. Of course, I don't have using bind. I don't have a record for this machine, right? Since it's brand new. I guess we want WE0. It'll be 105. And 24-bit net mask will be alpha 1. So I'd previously run through this and I gave it address of 95. That's why you saw that message pop up. But go through this again. So there, my default route is 1.1. Yeah, we'll reconfigure. And name resolve. So name server. That should do it. And we want to set up things like telnet and FTP. So telnet is 20. So we got to do that from the client menu. I have to say I do like this menu-driven configuration. So for a new user or a new administrator like me, not as familiar with VMS, it makes it pretty handy to configure this. It is a bit more cumbersome. I mean, you saw said, there's menu delay, whereas on a Unix or Unix-like system, interface config, interface name, address, net mask, one command, right? So this is demonstrating the succinctness of Unix more than anything. We want the FTP client. FTP client, we want NFS client. And we don't want SSH right now. Like I say, when I went through this before, I was able to generate keys pretty quickly. Use that as kind of a benchmark, but we'll just do telnet because that may take a minute. Okay. Telnet, let's check the services. So now I've enabled it in the client. We should see services, telnet and FTP enabled. NFS, we just want the client. And we'll start it up. So hopefully this works. So another wonderful thing about VMS is the log messages, right? So here we get all this good information. It is fantastic. We'll see if we can telnet over there. So networking is working. So this is good. This is very good. Okay. So we can bring up help. The help system is another one of VMS's great features. Again, I'm not as used to it. So Unix man pages, again, for a new user can be cryptic. This is pretty handy. So here we go. Now what I'm going to have to do now is, so we have demonstrated that we can log in. Let me kill that telnet session. See if I can FTP. Okay. So we can also FTP over. That may take a second. I'm going to have to refer to the documentation here on how to mount an NFS share here, because it's a little bit different. And on my 7.3 VMS, right? So the one that's for VAX running under SIMH, I was using a separate TCP package from a place called Process Software, I believe. So they had a couple of TCP packages, and that's how you got SSH and everything. So this is the inbuilt, I guess, UCX TCP package that came with it. So it's a little different. So I'm going to have to refer to the documentation here to see if we can mount this share. Again, sorry about the quitting there. Make sure that, okay, export VMS is there. So we get our TCP console, and let's try to mount this. That's the host we're going to. Okay, cool. So we should be able to head over there. Let me see if I can show mounts. Show devices. Well, that's not working. So let me just copy this into my copy paste buffer. I'm sure there's a way to refer to that more easily. And there we have the all of our layered products. And we've installed licenses for everything. So this is everything that came with the system. So let's see. See if I can write here. Okay. Set the term to a VT100. Let me see if I can just edit a test file. Okay. So I have obviously shared that read only. Create a directory for this stuff. So copy over some stuff to this new temp directory. If I can type today. No, that's unusual. Um, okay, so it did not like my wild card for some reason. So we're going to do basic. Um, we'll do basic, C, FORTRAN, and DECset. DECset gives some build utilities. Basic is just for fun. Really, what we care about is C more than anything. But also, FORTRAN will be handy for some stuff. So look at that. So we get our nice, the host lookups are working. The reverse lookups. So that's pretty handy. So there we got our unzip. We got this. It's not the speediest thing in the world, but does seem to be working. So I am pretty jazzed. Let's see if that copy is complete. Okay. So I probably just could have copied all the zips, although I did not make my emulated drive all that uh, all that big. So we're looking at I think we have a 4 gig drive here, which should be big enough for this. So we're going to install these layered products. So the compilers. Um, Now one of the things a viewer, a commenter, anti, as in before, um, uh, left me a note saying that VMS software, the people who now have taken over development of VMS, have released kind of a preview pack for alpha of kind of their new update, and so that's what some of these files are here. Um, Not this one, but I do have some of the files for that, so we may look at maybe in a later video doing an update to the latest and greatest. So that's from VMS software. So again, one of the things I'm curious about is the name mangling here, because these names weren't, they weren't that off. So VMS is a strange beast. I like the dollar signs, but why put it in there, right? So the basic compiler, I guess that has to split up tokens for 8 characters. What is this? Yeah, so there may be some name length thing, and that's why it's splitting up with the dollar sigils. I don't know. It seems a little flustered here. Again, do bear in mind, new to VMS. So, and DECset will be the last one we'll copy over. Switch tabs here and see if this is. So we have to set, define our unzip binary. Now we should be able to do an unzip. Nope. I always forget the syntax for this. The first dollar. There we go. So again, coming from a Unix background, why you have to define these, I guess create an alias of sorts. Very interesting, very unusual. Okay, so that's done. Let's just copy deck set. Well, that's running. Should be able to unzip basic here. And that should be pretty straightforward. So the next thing to do is, once this is unzipped, is to run the actual installation. And see if we can do some stuff with basic. Probably won't test basic in this video. Um, I don't know, I have mixed feelings on basic as a language. I think it is, it's one of the things I learned on. Back in the 80s with the Commodore 64, it's how I learned to program. I pretty quickly went to doing machine language on the Commodore, and then of course on the PCs with and Unix systems went to C. Basic has its place. It really makes things very quick and easy to put something down. And for a lot of simple things, it's it works. And I feel like it gets a lot of negative, uh, you know, negative things said about it because it's not a software engineering language. But there's a lot of negative things I can say about Python with equal justification, or say about C, and they all have their place. Um, you know, for instance, you can build let's say a chair out of Lego. Probably not the best thing, but in some ways it's easier, even though it takes longer to build a chair out of Lego than it does, say, I don't know, steel, right? Should be the equivalent of using, say, C, or do it out of wood. So it helps you get to where you want to go, but it might not be the best thing. We'll see about installing. So this one I'm pretty sure I remember because I did so much of this. I think this is the same as on VMS 7.3. I remember it because it only has the one L, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yes, why would they care if FTP is active? Yes, I don't care that it's not signed by HP. Let's see, is my last copy complete? Okay. I guess we also have to set unzip in this terminal. Okay. Let's unzip the C compiler. Yeah, we want a complete installation. Yes, I guess I want the system definitions. Yeah, you can do motif in BASIC. HP basic message file. I guess I'll take the default there. Basic translator, yeah. I have no idea what the basic message file or basic translator are. Well, this is pretty cool that there was a basic released by a major company, so DAC, I guess HP at that point, in 2007. That is pretty impressive. So I imagine a lot of kind of green screen interactive stuff may still exist. Uh, may still exist in BASIC, which I think is just fantastic. So we've got a couple of processes churning along here, eating up all the cycles. So uh, it is time for me to take a break and have a coffee so that I am a little less rambly and more focused. Oh, here we're done there. So let's get decompressed deck set while we're waiting. Well, that completed pretty quickly. Okay, let's test it. Oh, okay. Why isn't that working? Image not found. Interesting. I don't know. That may need some further diagnosing because I seem to recall that um, the basic right worked right out of the box on VMS 7.3. So I guess let's install CC, the C compiler. Probably should have read the instructions. Would have made sense, right? So not too bad for the product installation procedures. You know, anything beats an RPM. Uh, so as I said, I got to grab a coffee, or this is going to become a lot more rambling, and I'm just going to make more and more mistakes. I've already made enough mistakes at this point, so I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back once this is churned along a little bit more. And I'm back. That was a brief break. I had some iced tea, so no need to brew coffee. We will do iced tea. And yes, we have the packs loaded. What is IVP? Yeah, we'll run the IVP. Yeah. So we've unzipped deck set. What's left? FORTRAN. So hopefully BASIC had some issue. Again, I know not enough about VMS to diagnose that without looking at some documentation. Um, but again, I like that these installations are taking less time than the installation message would take. Uh, Again, got to wrap up this video. I got a new uh, M.2 SSD in the mail to go in my my main server, and this will have Solaris. This will have Slackware 14.2 put on it. So 120 gig SSD, which is plenty of room for a Slackware root uh, file system. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's a Kingston. So I have to see how that performs. To be honest, I only really use SSDs sometimes when I need a fast uh, scratch space. Obviously, I use them in the, you know, at my real job. Uh, they're in disk arrays and a form cache for high performance arrays, or just part of some high performance storage themselves. But for desktop and home use, I haven't really seen the advantage when they were so expensive. But now that the prices have dropped, I got 120 gig M.2 for about $50. So now that the prices have really dropped, still a lot more expensive than spinning disks. So $50 can get you a terabyte of spinning mechanical drive, but still pretty exciting to be able to get an SSD. So kind of the next server upgrade I do, which will hopefully be later this year, maybe early next year, when the AMD Zen comes out. I will probably include more SSDs uh, there, and I'm kind of half considering doing that one, since if it's a Zen that can really do 16 cores, uh, do a different host operating system. So maybe a Solaris / Open Solaris or FreeBSD host, so that my Linux stuff can run as a guest. I wonder if the basic had anything about startup here. No. Maybe there are some logicals that need to be reset or set up. Alright, scrolling up a little bit. Oh, we forgot one. Forgot the C++ compiler. I'll probably do that off video here. I think you guys get the idea um, for installing this stuff, because there's not a whole lot to it. I did just want to test the compiler here, so I imagine the C++ compiler would be very similar to this. The FORTRAN compiler obviously is pretty big, so hopefully that'll run just fine. So the FORTRAN here looks like it's a PCSI. Um, Installation. So we'll wait until after C is installed to get there. So let's monitor the system for a second, see what's going on, see how busy the CPU is. So okay, we are pegging the CPU. We have some I/O load, but this certainly does make sense that we would be pegging the CPU. But what a nice little what a nice utility. Uh, Look at the help for it. Monitor processes. This is a little bit more like top. Okay, we have C compiler. Let's try to test C program. See if this works. So we now have an object, so we should be able to. Now we should have a. So C compiler works. Now let's get out of here. And we're going to have to install FORTRAN. Which hopefully we will be able to do pretty easily. This product install FORTRAN. Let's try that. So I'm excited the C compiler works. Let's see. Maybe there's some problem with the file here. Test? No. I don't know what that means. Pardon me, having a drink. My throat is dry with anticipation of getting FORTRAN up and running. So I wonder what standards their FORTRAN compiler uses. I mean, I've been doing FORTRAN 95 for so long. I don't know if I can do FORTRAN 77 compliant syntax, because they are different enough. But we shall see. So that's eating up some time. Let's see if we. Monitor some I/O here. Well, I'm going to pause the video again here. Sorry, this is becoming a pretty long video. This is taking a while. Again, my mistakes early on probably delayed things, but we will pick this back up when FORTRAN's fully installed. So back now, the validation apparently of the compressed kit is complete, so let's install FORTRAN. Yeah, I'll just take the defaults. This will be interesting to see if FORTRAN works. So again, we're eating up a lot of CPU. Let's everything seems to be proceeding along quite well. Let's see if we can see how much free disk space we have. So that 2.6 gigs free, I guess. That's, yeah, 5.2 million blocks. That should be plenty of space. Plenty of space remaining. Now we also have here is DECset, and that's going to include some probably the better native editor for VMS, something called LSE, or the Language Sensitive Editor. It's a little bit better programming editor, although no reason you can't do VI or Emacs here, which might in fact be a better way to go. So this is chugging along pretty well. If we're already up to 40%, it's going to be a long video, probably like 40 minutes long. So if you stuck around here till the end, I guess, like I say, we're going to do DECset and C++ off screen. Again, they'll follow the same pattern of software installation, so it won't be too much interesting there. Let's just see what logicals I have. So there is a lot. So I can page that. I'm trying to see what's going on with BASIC. So yeah, so I do have some logicals defined for BASIC. We got some for C. Yeah, no need to. Something's going on with the terminal there. Let's go back here. So we're coming up on completion for FORTRAN. So do leave a comment below if there's anything interesting you'd like to see with alpha here on under VMS. We'll probably take a look at spinning up a cluster. So we'll have 2 or more of these emulated alphas running in cluster form. I'm probably going to put that off until after I've upgraded and reset up my main machine here, getting up to Slackware 14.2. And we'll probably have, so here I'm on my laptop. I do all my recording this stuff on my laptop because it actually has audio connections, right? And it has a head, right? So display, mouse, things like that. My main server is just that. It has no, it's headless. So we can probably run an instance here. It's an i7, so decently powerful. But since it's a laptop i7, it only goes to like 2.6 or something gigahertz. So we'll have, we can have two separate machines separated by network running this. Although what I'm interested about is whether DECnet will work here with packet capture. So that'll be interesting to take a look at as well. But that's probably in future videos. But like I said, do leave a comment if there's anything of interest in the realm of OpenVMS for the alpha you'd like to see. And I'm interested. So FORTRAN's wrapping up here, so we'll just do a test compile of FORTRAN and see how spoiled I've been to GNU's FORTRAN, which is, and the later FORTRANs, which are less sensitive to syntax errors. see if we can get this to do something useful. Did not have a FORTRAN? Try this. Okay, so that is... Why do I not get a verb for FORTRAN? Guess we have to do this. Okay. How do I not get... that's not what I want. Well, that's pretty interesting. I don't know. Something's going on with FORTRAN. See if I did something wrong in the instructions. Oh, goodness. This is, I'm sure, going to be incredibly fascinating to watch me read this. So, want the FORTRAN, making the FORTRAN command available. That was section 3. Let's see if this, here we go. need to log back in. So I guess I just needed to log out and log back in. Let's trim this down a little bit. So like I said, I'm so used to the modern FORTRANs that I don't know if this will... Yes, that should be 3 columns over. Ah. No matter, that should have worked. Why it didn't, I have no idea. But no matter, probably wrap this up now. Just because it's gone on for a long, long time. If you made it to the end, congratulations. Sorry this one was a little dull. Next video we'll pick up, try to build some open source software. Thanks for watching.